Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified Doctor of Naturopathy, Dr. Stephen Cabral, shares with you exactly how you can reverse aging, take back your health, and live a life full of energy and passion, with new 20-minute episodes every single day to keep you healthy and engaged. Now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. Great to have you here. Excited to get into our Mindset and Motivation Monday show of the week on the Cabral Concept. Today, we're diving into the topic, if you are staying present or not. So there's an easy way to understand if you're living the majority of your day, living in the past, living in the future, or living in the present. And I'm going to give you some specific aspects of your life that you'll easily be able to discern and pick out to know how often you're staying present. Because for most of us, sure, we're absolutely reliving the past, positive or negatively. We're worried too much about the future or kind of putting our better days into the future rather than staying present. So it's not whether that we ever think about the past or live in the past or think about the future. I think that actually it's healthy, right? We want to learn from our past. We want to be excited and plan for our future, but we need to stay more present. And I have a lot of podcasts, a lot of shows on that as to why it's the ultimate way to live, because yes, you always want to be looking forward to the future can be brighter than today. And the past happened, but we can learn from all of our mistakes and different issues of the past so that we don't bring them into the future. But we need to stay grounded in the present, because it's only when we're in the present that we can be at peace, that we can actually enjoy our life and not necessarily take it for granted. And it's also making the right decisions at the right moment in your life. You know, it's very easy to tell your kids or your spouse or whatever, I'll be there in a few minutes, or we can do that tomorrow, or always putting it off into the future. But sometimes if we're present and we keep the main thing, and we understand what that main thing is, we'll oftentimes make a different decision to say, I can only live in the ever-present now. Maybe it'll happen tomorrow, maybe it won't. Can I make it happen today? So let me take you through the three main questions, or I think probably a better phrase for that is categories. I'm going to take you through the past first. And I just want you to think in your mind right now, how often am I experiencing these things? And if you just lean towards the majority of the time, okay, you know that you're mainly stuck in the past. That's okay. No issues there, right? We can fix that. And then as I move on to the future, you want to just say, oh yeah, that sounds a lot like me, right? And again, that's okay. We can work on that as well. And then I'll bring you full circle as to whether you're living or not in the present. All right, here we go. Are you experiencing any of these particular feelings or associations? Do you have a lot of, and you worry a lot about guilt or shame, or do you have a lot of regret in your life? Something to think about. Do you often dwell on what happened yesterday, last week, or in the past, or maybe even when you were a child? Do you ever have replaying in your mind events that happened in the past, or conversations you had that maybe you wish you didn't? Or maybe you're living vicariously through a great event in the past. How often do you transport back into your past or in your daily life? Do you find yourself overanalyzing even the present moment? Oftentimes worrying about making a mistake from the past again. Do you feel feelings of sadness or oftentimes depressed, which is many times a symptom of things not being the same as they used to, or reliving the past poor experiences in your present day? So if any of those feel like you probably are stuck in that particular zone for a lot of the day, the feelings of guilt and shame and regret, overanalyzing, feeling sad and depressed and dwelling on past circumstances or replaying past events, if that sounds like you, the majority of your thoughts when you're having them, then you are someone that may be right now living a little bit more in the past. We'll talk about what to do about that in just a moment. Now, for those people that may be feeling these particular associations to living in the future, let's check those out. The fear of the unknown. Are you worried about what could happen in the future? You know, you overanalyzing the decisions of today, but more not from living in the past, but actually worried about the future. Do you feel anxious about what may happen, hasn't happened, but may happen of what to come? Are you overthinking certain situations and scenarios of, well, what if this happens? Okay, if I do this, okay, this might happen, but what if that happens? right? So they could be good, but they could also always be bad. And you focused on, well, either the good or the bad of what might come that you don't necessarily have today. Because thinking about tomorrow can deprive you of today. And you oftentimes going into worst case scenarios, meaning like, well, I want to be careful about doing anything today because it could lead to this. Meanwhile, at the same time, it could also lead to the exact life that you've always been dreaming of. And one more point that I would add is this. Do you procrastinate on today by simply thinking about, visualizing, excited about tomorrow? I say that one in particular, and I know it's going to rub a few people the wrong way, only because oftentimes when we get into the manifestation, the visualization, the hope and want and dream-based phase, we move away from the action in the present day. So we put it off into the future, but don't do today. Okay, so now you know what it would be like for someone to live in the past or the future. What does it look like now for people that are living in the present? People that are living in the present have much more inner peace. They give much more gratitude. They feel a greater sense of joy, of being, of living, of experiencing life. They look from both perspectives, past and future, with a little bit more understanding. That's where I was before. This is where I may be in the future, but here's where I am right now. They have a lot more acceptance along those same lines, where I may not be where I want to be, but I'm so much further ahead than where I was in my past. They also have greater clarity because they don't have the fog of living in the past or the haze of what the future may bring, but instead they know what they can do right now in order to move them further away from poor past experiences and closer to a brighter vision for their life. So if that sounds like you are absolutely on the right path. Giving gratitude, feeling more peace and understanding and acceptance and overall joy and vitality for life, right? And the clarity to know what you need to do today. That is living in the present. All of us can continue to work towards getting there because none of us are perfect. I don't believe so. I'm not perfect, that's for sure. And I work on these things. But what I can tell you is this. One of the ways that we actually pull ourselves out of the past and bring ourselves from the future back into the present is to actually feel the feelings of I just stated from people that actually live in the present. So what do I mean by that? It would be giving more gratitude. So each and every day, you're upset about the past. You're upset you're not where you could be in the future or want to be in the future or worried about the future. Okay, how do we bring us back to the present? What am I grateful for right now? Sure, I know that things happen in the past that I don't like. I worry about the future. I hope I don't have more of the past. What can I give gratitude, though, for today? How about your family, children, career, parents, a specific skill, whatever it might be? Can you name 3 things that you can be grateful for? Waking up, giving gratitude. Before bed, giving gratitude. Writing in a gratitude-based journal. What 3 things? And if you can do that, and you can give gratitude and thanks for 3 things, it anchors you to the present. You now pulled yourself out of the past and away from the future and into the present. Also, if you can simply take a breath or 2 or 5 in through the nose and out through the mouth, calm your sympathetic nervous system, and begin to go back to your breath, you can feel the body. Sometimes when we get a little bit spacey or a little bit depressed or a little bit out of body, we need to bring ourselves back. We need to ground. Going for a walk outside, especially in the grass, getting grounded is a phenomenal thing for coming back to the present. Closing your eyes, shutting out the outside world, going to your breath, even a hand over the heart can really bring you back there. And also, every time you catch yourself going and reliving the past or worried about the future, we need to pull ourselves back and anchor ourselves into what is right now. Yes, the future may happen in that way. The past did happen in this way. However, the actions I take today can dictate my future. Because if I can take specific actions that have been proven to get specific results, and I can on a daily basis course correct as needed, I can become the person that is worthy of achieving those results. So what I ask you right now today is write down whatever the goal is for the future. There will always be worries that come along with it. That's not you. There's nothing wrong that you're doing. That's human nature. The issue is when we dwell on those things. We dwell on the what ifs of the future, or we dwell on the past experiences of maybe what brought us to today's moment. But at any point as adults, we can decide to make a choice, to choose a different path. And I'm not saying that it's going to be all downhill and easy. But what I am saying is that bit by bit and step by step, we can take different actions. They may happen slowly. Like if you need to change your career or get out of a relationship, it may not happen overnight. I understand that and I get it. But what can we do starting today, reading the book, listening to the podcast, beginning to outline what needs to be done that will give you a sense of control, that enables you to know and think about, if I want this different future, I need to just do something different than today. And you start to outline that plan. And the plan itself doesn't have to be perfect, but it is now a way of reinforcing, okay, I have to take these steps in the present moment in order to get a different future. Because if I repeat the same mistakes of the past, I already know what my future is going to be. That's why I've done a previous podcast where the future is very predictable. The future is predictable because based on a person's daily actions, the sum of their daily actions, it creates the whole of their life. And when they look at what their future will be, we can say, well, are you taking the same actions you've taken for the last year? Because if so, why would the future be different than today? And sometimes it may be just based on the time needed in order to achieve a result, but typically not. Usually what needs to be done is you take steps A, B, C, and D, and then as you move on to E, F, and beyond, they're a little bit more detailed. They're a little bit more advanced in the first few steps. Now, they don't feel more advanced to you, and that's because you've already completed the steps before that. But what you're doing is you are up-leveling your life. And that's really what we need. You don't up-level in just a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but you do begin to work the plan. And you don't get to that next level when you pass the first. So my goal for you today was just to simply assess, am I living in the past too much? I know the whole time you're not, but too much. How often does the guilt, the shame, the regret, feelings of sadness, depression, overwhelm, overanalyzing, how often does that come up? If it's quite a bit, probably living more in the past. Or the worry about what could happen in the future, the anxiousness, the anxiety. We typically say if you're sad or you're depressed, you're living more in the past. And again, I'm sensitive around this topic. I totally understand and I get it. And if you're anxious and worried about what might happen, you're worried about the future. Present is the lack of that. Present is inner peace. It's gratitude. It's grace. It's clarity. It's acceptance. The more we can move to that space, the happier we're going to be. But it's not just about happiness. It's also going back to the word clarity. It gives us the crystal clear notion of what we need to do next. And that's sometimes exactly what we're missing. Because the universe, God, is giving us signs of what we need to do for the next step. Sometimes it's people that come into your life. Sometimes it's just a good book or a podcast. But you don't always know that you're listening or looking at or speaking to the individual that is there for you to take you on the next step of your journey. So it's only when you're in the present and you're not worried that you can then say, oh, this is exactly what I was looking for. So do it for your future self, do it for your present self, and the more that you can pull yourself out of the past and the worries of the future, be more present at the moment, the faster you get to your goals. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show. Very much appreciate you for all you do for this community. I thank you for the comments, the downloads, the shares. Please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my health results accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.